Yeah, I know there's A Wrinkle in Time and Tomb Raider and Pacific Rim Uprising came out this weekend, but since this is a YouTube channel where I get to pick whatever I want to talk about, this just grabbed me more. So Muppet Guys Talking is this documentary that was directed and produced by Frank Oz, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's Muppet Guys Talking. Literally the whole thing. It's Frank Oz, Bill Barretta, Fran Brill, Dave Goelz, and the late great Jerry Nelson, who I didn't know he was going to be in this, given that he passed away like 5-6 years ago, so it was cool to see him. But it was all of them just sitting in a living room talking about the Muppets and their experiences on the Muppet Show and Sesame Street, a little bit of Fraggle Rock, and what Jim Henson was like, and Richard Hunt, and working with the both of them. Big Muppet fan right here, so I was looking forward to this movie, and I've been hearing bits and pieces about it. I follow Frank Oz on Twitter, and he'd been posting some stuff. I had no idea the thing was out, though. I'm not actually sure when it came out. I think it was just earlier this month. But right when I found out it was available, downloaded it, watched it, here we are. And what I find most interesting about Muppet Guys Talking is the intimacy of the whole project. Because it's not so much like a history lesson on the Muppets, like we're gonna take you from Sam and Friends to Sesame Street, Muppet Show, Fraggle Rock, the movies, the Disney era. And there's also solo interviews with each of the 5 performers thrown in there, but for the most part, it's literally just them sitting on couches, just chilling, reminiscing about the Muppets and the Muppet Show. They really tried to keep it just as raw as they could. There was even one time they were going to cut for a coffee break, and Frank Oz was like, no, just keep the cameras rolling, let's go get our coffee. It's probably the most laid back documentary I have ever seen. And I really liked listening to their insight. A lot of these people had been with the Muppets for 30-40 years, some of them. It felt like this total window to the past where we get to peek into the behind the scenes stuff of the Muppet Show, and they were even talking about certain scenes, whether from the shows, the movies, the TV specials, and they were just like talking about the behind the scenes of it and how like dangerous some of that stuff was. They talked about Jim Henson and just like the enduring spirit that he had, like when he filmed the opening of the Muppet movie where it's Kermit singing Rainbow Connection in the swamp. They literally just built this little tank thing to squeeze Jim Henson into, and he's like submerged under all this water. He has one hand up so he can operate Kermit. And I had heard that before, but listening to them describe it made me realize maybe I do have a little bit of claustrophobia. A lot of their talk really reminded me of like why I love the Muppets. They talked about how they did a lot of ad-libbing on the set, and there was a lot of jokes that probably wouldn't skate by with audiences nowadays. How certain characters' jokes kind of got dirtier and dirtier as the show went on because they were always looking to like push the boundaries of what they could do. And going back to what I was talking about earlier with the behind the scenes stuff and some of the stuff that they were doing being like dangerous or hard, they brought up the point like that's why we didn't have any competition over the years, because doing this job is dangerous and hard. They took this little medium of felt puppets and like they added so much personality because it's not just about the voices. You just see so many of these characters come to life through these 5 performers, and it was really cool just hearing them talk about that. I wouldn't say that this is like the end all be all of Muppet documentaries, and the movie's not even trying to be like that, and really it's only like an hour long, although it does only cost $10, so that does make up for it. I would have liked to see a little bit more of some more behind the scenes footage. It was weird is actually the stuff that they showed. Like the interviews were all high def, but then some of the clips from the shows were pretty grainy, which was strange because I have the whole series of Fraggle Rock in my closet right now, and watching those DVDs is better quality than some of the clips that were in this documentary. But the documentary is low budget, it's not put on by the Jim Henson Company, so it's not that big of a deal. Despite the fact that I would have liked more clips, I would have liked it to be a little more like operating in chronological order. I think Muppet Guys Talking is a very interesting, very unique documentary and a peek behind the curtain at the Muppets. And what I also really liked is they don't really go into the Disney era that much. Like I'm fine for the most part with how Disney's handled the Muppets. They've had some hits, they've had some misses. I know that Frank Oz wants to see Disney succeed with the Muppets, but I also know he hasn't really been a big fan of what Disney has done with them. So I thought there was going to be a decent amount of like, yeah, things were awesome back then until Disney took over. Now everything sucks, which they probably couldn't say because a couple of these performers still work for Disney. But they kept the whole thing very charming, very personal. They gave a lot of cool notes about Jim Henson, just what he was like as a person and as a performer and as a boss. If you're a fan of the Muppets, I think you'll really enjoy this. It's available on this website called MuppetGuysTalking.com. As far as I know, that's the only place that you can get it. It costs about $9.95. You can stream it on your computer or your TV. Check it out. It's really cool. So Muppet Guys Talking, if you guys have seen it, let me know what you think of it down in the comments. And thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys liked it, you can click subscribe and check out some of my other videos, and I'll catch you guys next time.